Hey everyone, and welcome to this session of DFR Lab 360 Open Summits. My name is Anna Pellegatta, and I work as Associate Director from DFR Lab Brussels office in Belgium. As you've probably learned by now following our work, since the funding in 2016 at the DFR Lab, we have worked to expose falsehoods and information manipulation and document abuses of human rights and democratic values around the world using open source information. Our team strongly believes that having more people doing this work to high standards really benefits us all. That is why over the years, we have worked to grow and support what we call our community of digital sherlocks, with dedicated trainings and workshops on open source investigative techniques. In 2019 alone, we trained over 1,500 members of civil society around 6 continents. As the COVID-19 pandemic last year limited our ability to travel and convene in person, we have adapted our training and capacity building efforts to an online capacity. Building a safe and trusted environment to engage our community. Last October then, thanks to the support of our partners and funders from around the world, we formalized our training portfolio and launched our 360 Digital Sherlocks program, a series of free and online trainings dedicated to students, academics, journalists, and members of civil society committed to monitoring and protecting the information environments in their respective regions. Since last October, we hosted 571 participants from over 90 countries in about 80 workshops, ranging from practical trainings on open source skills, social media analysis tools, to interactive conversations about digital governance and tech policy, and lastly, in informal networking events. In addition to ongoing trainings, our sherlocks have access to dedicated resources and private social media groups where they can share information, promote their own research, and seek collaboration with other participants. I can tell you that by far the most exciting part of coordinating this program is been to learn how our sherlocks could benefit from these trainings and the program more broadly. In fact, over the past 9 months, most of our participants were able to apply the skills learned to their own research, train their own local communities on the same skills that they learned, find collaboration with other participants, and even find new jobs in relevant areas of work. Today, my colleague Lukas Andriukaitis will walk you through one of all-time favorite Sherlock sessions, our geolocation training, or rather a slightly shorter version of our geolocation training. But before I pass the floor to Lukas, I want to share one piece of logistical information. In about 10 days, we will conclude the spring iteration of our 360 Digital Sherlocks program. And later this summer, we will open applications to join our fall 2021 cohort. So if you're interested in joining the program, or if you know anyone who might be interested in joining, I strongly recommend that you check out our social media, our website, or our newsletter for more information about how to apply and how you can benefit from these trainings. You can also find on the 360 Open Summit social app our contact information if you have any questions about the program or any information that you might want to receive. And with this, I will pass it on to Lukas for a geolocation presentation and a fun interactive challenge at the end of it. Thank you.
All right. Hello and welcome to the geolocation demo. My name is Lukas Andriukaitis. I'm an associate director here at the lab. And as Anna mentioned, I think geolocation is probably one of the most favorite methods of open source research amongst the digital sherlocks. It's certainly my all-time favorite method for sure. I have been using it for numerous years for anything ranging from research on Syria, Ukraine, Libya, Russia, you name it. Basically, I would say that this method has very little competitors amongst the tools and methods within the OSINT world, due to its versatility. Basically, you can do any research, starting from security to anything humanitarian or anything else. What I'm going to talk about today will be full of security-related research examples, but don't you worry. It's definitely not only security-related. I think it's pretty universal. I'm sure a number of you already have experienced it. Me and Michael have been running these trainings around the clock for the spring and winter sessions. So what I want to do today is basically run through some of the more, I don't want to say basic, but more some foundational geolocation methods that might help you at least in doing the challenges that we're going to present today. I think this will be at least help for those who already been to our geolocation trainings to remember some of these methods, and for those who haven't, I think it'll be enough to participate in our challenge, about which we're going to talk a little later. So what is geolocation? In front of the screen, you can see the description, which is sort of the one you can get online. But the way I like to describe it is geolocation is a way to figure out where the picture or a video was taken using open source methods, and if it's really hard, doing it manually, which is I think the most exciting part about geolocation, to solve it like a sort of puzzle. So let's take, for example, these photos that we found online when doing research on Syria. These are Russian mercenaries, and we couldn't find any more data, just these 4 photos, and we wanted to figure out where on earth they are. And we basically used all of the details available on these images, basically all the details, all the buildings, anything you see can be a potential clue. And we pinpointed them to a specific house in Syria, which allowed us to sort of take a deeper look into Russian mercenary activities within the Syrian conflict. So as you see, once you're done with geolocation, you can very concretely match all of the details with satellite imagery. So basically you want to pinpoint it on an openly available satellite imagery map in order to be 100% sure that something happened there or a specific object was there. What else do you need to know about geolocation? Is that basically there are 3 main approaches, 3 basic approaches that we're going to talk about today. The first one is metadata, the second one is reverse image search, and the third is manual research. They are listed in a way I recommend you using them. So it goes from easiest to the hardest. So whenever you have a chance to find your information easier, you really don't need to reinvent the wheel and go through the whole manual process yourself. But if you get stuck, you might want to go through step by step and try to figure it out. So the first method is metadata approach, and I think this is the easiest one. Basically, what we're dealing with here is the information that is most often added to images, which you can't see just on the image itself. You need to use a tool to open this data. The easiest is to use one of the XGIF tools that you can see on the screen. Basically, the way you do it is that you just upload it on the online app, and it provides you with such information as when the image was taken, with what camera, on what exact date, and if you're lucky enough, you'll find GPS coordinates where the image was taken. I must say it's not always the case. This doesn't happen as often. Especially when we're dealing with social media platforms, because Facebook and Twitter and all of the other major platforms usually erase metadata whenever you upload it online. But if you stumble upon an image somewhere, if someone sends it to you or anything like that, you might be lucky. So there's really not a whole lot to tell here. Any online tool that allows you to look into metadata of an image is good enough, and you can very easily access it. So this is the first thing I usually recommend doing. Another thing is that some of the platforms, such as Instagram or Vkontakte, the Russian Facebook, sometimes give you geotagged data, which shows basically an area where the image was geotagged. So on the screen, you see a couple of images from Russia that we were investigating online, and you can see that in the description there's a geotag, which at least significantly decreases your search scope, allowing you to even go through the manual approach a little easier. So in this case, as you can see, the same image was geotagged, and in the background, Michael found some interesting information about a specific Russian military radar platform that was constructed in a clandestine way. So, but again, if these approaches don't work, which they don't do more often than they do, you might move to the second approach, the reverse image search. I'm sure that every digital Sherlock online knows how reverse image search works for checking your images, but in the sphere of geolocation, we oftentimes use it for finding the location. So, for example, as an example, I'm taking a screenshot from the movie Inception, where they were sitting at a cafe, and if we don't know the details about it, what we might want to do is try and reverse image search the image. So the easiest way to do it, and one of the platforms that I usually personally use, is Google. And to do it, to do the reverse image search is fairly easy. What you need to do is go to images.google.com, press the little camera that pops up as you see on the screen, and either upload the image itself, or you can just pop in the URL and press search. And what we're getting is the search engine provides us with identical or very similar images of the one you see there. So basically, we're using this approach for looking for similar places. The idea here is that if you're dealing with a location that is fairly popular, most likely someone already took the picture of it online and posted it for you. So all you need to do is find one of those images that were already posted and do your due diligence, read around, and you might find some other potential clues about it. So in this case, Google Images quite successfully recognized the place. It's quite a few pictures of the place were taken, and you already can read or at least check where where the image was taken, do your due diligence, and at least diminish your scope of what you need to do with a more manual approach, which we're going to talk about it in a second. Two other tools that might help you do the reverse image search a little easier, which I recommend installing into your web browser if you're using Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. And the first one is Revi Reverse Image Search, and this little handy extension allows you to use, I think, 5 different search engines at once for any specific image, which saves time. You don't need to go to yandex.com and google.com and re-upload the same image. All you need to do is once it's installed, you right-click on the image and choose any engine of your interest, or do all at once and save time. The idea here is that every single search engine provides slightly different results, and if you're dealing with a photo and Google doesn't find it, it's a pretty good idea to also drop it into Yandex or Baidu or Bing or any other search engine. Another search engine that I often recommend is Yandex. It is usually providing different results from Google, but it is very handy in geolocation. In geolocation terms, it's very handy because of the function it has, which allows you to crop the image. Don't mind the scary statue you see in the background. I was trying to experiment with the Yandex and see if it can pick up a face of a statue and maybe diminish my search scope. It didn't work out too well because it thought that this quite scary Russian statue was taken in Egypt, perhaps. But the idea, why am I showing you this, is the crop function that you see here. All you need to do once you upload the image is click on the crop function and just select an area that you would like the search engine to focus on. The idea is also quite simple. Is if you don't specify where you would like the search engine to focus on, it will take the whole image as an image of interest, right? So basically, the half-naked gentleman you see on your screen, I think he was from somewhere taken in Donbass. But we didn't. If once we uploaded it, we were getting other half-naked gentlemen resting on the poolside, and we were interested in the background. We wanted to check where exactly this pool is, and let's see how different results pop up on Yandex when we specify it exactly on the pool in the background. As you can see, once we crop it to the pool, we are already getting only pool. So our search scope is slightly smaller, and it saves time and saves effort. So usually what I do whenever I have a bigger picture, I try to move, crop different places in the background. So maybe you see a church tower, maybe you see a shop, maybe a facade that sort of sticks out, or maybe a wall, I don't know. Just different objects that might be easier recognized by the search engines. I usually just toggle the image around, and that just saves time, because you can also just manually crop the image and re-upload it every time. But this is highly efficient and highly effective, and I really recommend using it. And the third approach is the manual approach, which is sort of the thing you do once everything else fails. So for the purpose of this presentation, I took one picture from my own Facebook as an example, and here we see me in an undisclosed location. And if that's the only information you have a couple of options. You can either recognize the location and sort of look into a specific in a specific tide location there, or you can look for clues, analyzing the picture step by step, trying to find more information just by reading the picture. So in this case, what we have, we might look for big objects, right? So what we see here, we see a big pyramid, which sticks out quite easily. And if we're trying to find it with reverse image search, this is a perfect object to sort of crop and see if we can get there easier than not just reading, not by just reading the photo. We also might want to take a look at the background. So what we're looking here is big, something, something big. Big space is something easily recognizable from satellite imagery might be very useful. In this case, we're seeing a square, which is easily identifiable on from satellite imagery. So this is a very helpful clue. We might also, take a look at people. If we see a lot of people, we might assume it's maybe it's a touristy place, maybe it's a popular place, which might be a clue. Weather, if it's if it's sunny, if it's hot, you can also identify that the people are wearing shorts. So it might be a warm country or at least the summer season. So everything in the picture is useful. Another thing that we teach in our advanced geolocation classes, which is a really interesting take as well. So I'm just going to put it here as a teaser, is we're also geolocating by looking at the backgrounds at the landscape. So in this case, we might also investigate the silhouette of the mountain range in the back. This is slightly more advanced, and it takes a little more to practice. So if you're interested, I really recommend you joining some of our advanced geolocation trainings in the future. And the next step, once you do your reading, is to Google it. So basically, the best thing you can do is to identify some of the keywords and see what you can get there. The most sort of one-on-one approach might be just using all of the main keywords you see from the picture, typing them in and see what areas are being suggested, and pick look for similar backgrounds, similar buildings like this, and it's quite effective by using the correct keywords. By reading the picture, you might arrive to some of the pictures that were already taken. Once you minimize the scope, this is another important thing to mention with geolocation. Very often, all you need to do is to minimize the scope as much as possible, because at the very end you'll have to sort of scan the maps manually, looking for the same things that you're looking for. So if you don't want to look through all of Mexico, ideally you would identify at least the main locations with pyramids, so you wouldn't have to go sit through hours and hours of different maps of different sounds. You might get one or two, which will just save time and energy. So in this case, the ancient capital of Mexico, we can already see some of the objects from the satellite, which kind of stick out, right? We can see a couple of big pyramids. We can see the open spaces. As I mentioned, squares are perfect for satellite imagery because you can see them quite clearly. And once you zoom in, what you need to figure out is where the picture was taken from. So basically, trying to recreate the angle of the camera for figuring out where it is, but also it's very useful for showing as well, because one of one of the biggest advantages of geolocation is it's highly visual. So if you want to show your research to someone, it is a good thing to make it as visually appealing and as visually easy to understand as possible. Again, comparison is a great thing. That's the third step of our method, is the comparison. And if you're lucky enough, some of the bigger cities around the world might also have the Google Street View or any equivalent on another search engine. So this might make your life even easier because you don't need to reimagine how a 3D photo fits on a 2D satellite imagery. You can just basically walk through the streets and see everything from the 3D point of view. And as I mentioned, comparison is an important thing. What you need to do is to double check if everything sort of comes together. If you see all the big objects, if we see the pyramids in this case, if we see some ruins in the background, if we see the square, basically the more details you're able to cross-check, the more convincing your research is. So also due diligence is very, very important, not only in geolocation, but in geolocation it usually saves time. If you're able to do it well, you might not have to do everything yourself because someone else might do it for you. So in this case, once I posted this image a few years back, one of my friends successfully recognized it, and if someone was interested in the image, was trying to geolocate me, for example, by reading the comments, he would have successfully found me. So you would be surprised how many times by doing the due diligence on Russian mercenaries, some of the guys that were chatting in the comment section revealed their location and made our life quite easy. So let's take one of the geolocation examples from our work and go step by step through it to get a better sense of how geolocation works in practice. This is a COVID-19 related example coming from Russia, from Moscow. The backstory of it is quite simple. In last year, around March, I think, when everything was breaking out, the official Kremlin position on what was happening in Russia was to deny everything. And basically, they were sort of, at least publicly, ignoring the problem until we found some photos online that there are queues waiting of ambulances waiting to get into Moscow hospitals. Basically, what we wanted to do is to see whether or not these photos were real, because they were coming from quite a few sources. We wanted to basically see the situation a little bit more in depth. So this is a great example because only by looking at the photos, it is quite hard to geolocate this place, because there are not a lot of details showing, right? What we can see is a road bend, a few light posts. If you look really closely, you can see a bit of a fence. Basically, this could be anywhere in Russia. It's not impossible, but it might be time consuming. So what we might want to do is we might want to look into the comments of these photos and other photos coming on Facebook. So in this comment, which was one of the first ones under these photos, someone also added a video and mentioned Khimki, one of the neighborhoods in Moscow, saying that this is the entrance to the 19th hospital in Moscow. So if you are not familiar with the Russian alphabet, or if you don't speak Russian, It's not a big problem. I also don't speak Arabic, but I do quite a lot of geolocations in that region. And Google Translate is usually more than enough to find the keywords you need to for your work. So all you need to do is just Google Translate it and see what people are talking about. And I always try to stress it during my trainings because it's sometimes people see something in Arabic and say think that well, I can't read it, so it's no use for me. But in reality, it's all you need to do is translate it and look for clues in the text. So again, what we saw here was that it was in Khimki. This is Khimki, the Russian neighborhood. And if we go to Google Maps and just type in Khimki hospital, there are quite a few of them popping up. So we already successfully minimized the scope into one neighborhood, and we could already go through every single one of the hospitals and just see how the surroundings of the hospital looks, and do it this way. But if we're doing our due diligence even better, as I mentioned, there's a 19, the hospital number 19 mentioned in the title of the video, and if we Google that, there's one specific hospital in Khimki region named hospital number 19. And once we open that, we already can see some of familiar things. So, for example, at the north of the photo, you can see that there's a road bend, and this is a sort of naturally leading to the entrance of the hospital. And this sort of sticks out, and it might be the first thing we would like to take a look at. And once we go to Google Street View, we can already see that the location is the same. Not only we see the same lampposts, the same bend of the road, but we also see the same markings on the ground. So basically, the white markings also is another clue that allows you to sort of be more precise with your geolocation. In this case, I also used the markings on the road to sort of estimate how many ambulances were waiting at to get into the hospital, so to sort of measure the scope of the problem they were facing at the time. And the way I did it, I measured the distance from the line that you see in the photo to the entrance of the hospital, and divided it by an average length of ambulance truck. And I got a pretty good idea of how many ambulances were taken in the picture. So this example just allows you to see how versatile the geolocation method can be. But if we go back to the example from the movie, we can also talk a little bit more how to do the manual approach, looking at the picture from this movie. So what we want to do is we want to read through the image and look for any standout details, such as trees, the road bands, the gaps between buildings, anything like that might be more than useful. In this case, what we did is we also typed in the name of the coffee place, the restaurant that we saw in the image, and it allowed us to sort of minimize the scope of the search again. So what we do then, we go through every spot that appears on Google Maps, and we look for similar places. Paris can be quite tricky because of their sort of the way it's built in the perimeter approach. But again, looking from satellite imagery, we can start identifying the same things. So in this case, we see the tree, the same one as in the image. We also see the railing on the building as we see in the photo as well. But also we can also identify the bending of the road. And again, most of the big cities around the world have either Google Street View or Yandex Street View, which has a specific name which I can't remember at the moment. But basically, going down into street level allows us to do a very clear comparison of what we're seeing, and yeah, what we need to do then is to compare the two images and have a pretty good idea of where we are. I will also share with you a couple of methods, a couple of sort of tricks that might help you do the manual approach a little easier. One thing that we often use in the FR lab are the 3D maps. 3D maps don't come with every single satellite imagery provider. The ones that we use the most are Google 3D maps, which are generated on most of the big cities. I don't want to say all of them, but if we're dealing with I don't know, Paris, London, New York, I think most of them are in a pretty good shape. Smaller cities are usually not built out in 3D mode. So how do we use it, and why would we why would we want to do that? So basically, what it allows you to do is to instead of imagining how everything looks on the ground, in a 2D perspective, we can actually see it in 3D. So we basically have a small model of a specific urban location, which we can just rotate in any angle and see for similar patterns. So if we're dealing with, for example, some roof patterns. So for example, if we see that there's a red roof, then a dark roof, and then a lighter one as well, it allows us to do that more easy. One way to do it is to open Google Earth and press on the 3D function there. But Google Maps, if you go just to googlemaps.com, it also has a 3D option there. Once you turn it on, usually it tilts in a slight angle, and you're able to use the 3D images more easy. I don't know how many of you have been to our 360 OS in Berlin a few years back, but we did this fun geolocation challenge back then, where we gave participants photos of a location of a bar, where we invited everyone to come, and we offered free drinks if you're able to find the place. So I'm not sure how many of you have been there, but basically this was one of the photos that was leading to the bar in Berlin. So basically, let's go through one of the ways to solve this geolocation puzzle. And I'll show you how to use 3D maps to help your search. So basically, if we zoom into the photo, we can see two flags popping, sort of sticking out. One flag is Hungarian, and the other one is German. And basically, if you see a Hungarian flag in Berlin, there are only so many buildings that might fly a Hungarian flag, and I guess the first building that might pop to your head is the embassy, right? The embassy of Hungary, and the other one most likely is administrative building of German government. And what we see next, next to them, we see a line of roofs with very distinct shapes of windows on top. Again, you could quite easily do it on a 2D map, but in order to help yourself to do it faster, you might want to open the 3D maps and just zoom in into the model and see what you can find. So this is the Hungarian embassy building right at the left corner. There's the German building with the flag, and then we can easily jump a bit more forward and look for the same patterns on the sort of roof sections of the buildings. Yeah, and voila. So basically it allows you to save time. The same approach on Google Earth we use for the landscape analysis. As I mentioned, some of the places that we look into where conflicts are happening. So for example, Syria, a lot of the conflicts are happening actually in the desert or in the uninhabited regions. But the function that the Google 3D maps have is that not only they work with urban areas, with buildings, but they also work with hills and other landscape sort of elevations. And if you click on the same 3D map button, what it allows you to do is to sort of see every single hill in any given area, which we then use to sort of look for similar patterns of hills that we see in a specific image. Again, as I mentioned, is a slightly more advanced way of geolocating things, and it's way more time consuming. But if you want to learn more about it, join us for some of our sessions. One of the last sort of tips that I might give you, which is surprisingly manual but surprisingly effective, is to sketch what you can see. Again, in the photo that I just showed you, you can't identify too many things, and especially for maybe for a slightly less trained eye, it might be hard to imagine how everything looks from the top. This is the thing that I mentioned before, the imagining how a 3D photo looks on a 2D scale, right? So in order to help your imagination, one of the things you might do is to sketch it out. So basically, if you see a building, right, you might just try and sketch it on a piece of paper, saying this is the entrance to the building. There's a white line that we can identify. There's a road on the left side. There are a few trees here, a couple of trees inside. And so basically, if you do a good enough sketch, you might make it a little easier for yourself. So basically, here's a good example of how a sketched out piece of image looks compared with a satellite imagery, right? So from the same photo, we could successfully identify the same parts: the vegetation, the the lines on the ground, the two buildings that sort of one in U-shaped and one built in front of it, and so on. So this might look as a very manual approach, but we oftentimes use it. And once you sketch it, I just put it next to the screen when I'm going through the maps, and just look for very similar patterns. Yeah, so that would be a quick run through some of the methods that I recommend personally, especially for people who maybe haven't tried as much geolocation before. Three main approaches, as I mentioned. Try going one by one to try and get best results. And now, for the very last part, I would like to introduce you to the geolocation challenge that we prepared for you today. Basically, what we're going to give you today are 5 different geolocation challenges. Basically, 2 easy ones, 2 medium ones, and 1 harder one for those who want to spend a little more time looking at maps. Basically, how it works is that you open the app, which I think you have all the information about how to download it and how to use it. I'll show you which button exactly is where this challenge is in a moment. But basically, you'll have a selection of 5 challenges, 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. The first 2 are easy, the middle 2 are medium, and the last one is hard. But all of the methods and tools that I introduced to you today should be more than enough to find all of them. So feel free to pick and choose whichever you want to do. They are from all over the globe, so don't think that they're all only from from the United States or from Europe or from Asia, but they're pretty mixed. And the way you need to solve it, basically there will be a short description about each photo that you see. There will be a small hint for what you need to pay closer attention to, and there will be sort of a hint on the answer. You'll have to identify a short specific answer. So it might be 2 words, 1 word, maybe 2 words and a number, but you need to be very precise into what you're typing in. All of them will be in English. So don't use any other letters than from the Latin alphabet. And yeah, and it'll be quite. I think it'll be quite fun to do. And this is the button that I was talking about. Once you open the app, you need to swipe to right, and you'll find it at the top left corner of the application. And that will be all from my side. I wish you happy geolocation, happy geolocating. If you'll get stuck, I recommend you looking for help online. Maybe join forces with other attendees. If you're part of our digital Sherlock community, use our Facebook group to exchange ideas and to help each other. But I think it'll be not that difficult once you know the correct approaches and correct tools to do it. So on this note, I want to say thank you for joining to our short geolocation demo today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I give the word back to the studio.